And we're recording. Hey guys, welcome to CLUBFED True Stories. My name's Sean. I did a 52-month sentence in Florence, Colorado prison camp. And I'm here with a good buddy of mine who also did time at Florence, Colorado prison camp. And since we did federal prison time and we know about camps, we all know there's a Lori Loughlin that got released today, and she did time at a women's federal prison camp in Dublin, California. So we're gonna give you the inside scoop, our opinion on this Lori Loughlin. So let me introduce Alex, and I know he's got a lot to say. So Alex, you, this morning we were talking about Lori Loughlin got released, and you got a little upset, kind of like I did. So you want to tell the viewers out there your feelings on Lori Loughlin getting 60 days?
Sure. For one, never once in my life have I heard anyone getting such a short sentence. The shortest anyone ever gotten, from my experience, has been 13 months. So the fact that she only got 60 days seemed very suspicious to me. And, another thing I wanted to point out is that from my experience, it seemed that the richer someone is, on the contrary to what many believe, they actually get longer sentences.
You would
It
think,
seems like,
yeah.
yes, I think the popular belief is poor people get incarcerated for longer sentences, and maybe that's true in other prisons and other facilities. But from my experience, where we were at, poor people tend to get more lenient sentences as compared to rich people. So the
I,
fact that she's rich and got such a short sentence was very surprising to me. In 60 days, it's almost like, it's disrespectful to the people who serve real sentences,
It is disrespectful. So I think what you're talking, there's a difference between state prisons and federal prisons. So like when you say the poor people might get a longer sentence in a state prison, but but with the feds, like you were saying, the more rich you are, the more the feds, want to punish you.
Yes.
So I did meet a guy at our camp, Alex, that got a 60-day sentence for a DUI driving through a government park drunk driving, and they gave him 60 days. Now, out on the streets, if you get a DUI, you might just do a couple days in county jail, and then your license is taken away for a year and all that. But the feds made this guy go to prison for 60 days. That's the only ever time I heard anybody getting 60 days. You probably
Okay, so
missed the
you
guy
heard of one.
because you know what, 60 days you blink and the guy's gone. So you probably never met him because
Right. But at the same time, I did meet someone and became friends with someone who was there for a DUI on federal land, and he did a couple of years for the
yeah.
same crime. So
So he was probably rich. So I got the article about her. She's all over the news today. So do you think she got special treatment? She went over to Dublin. That's kind of the women's camp, and it's like a low and a camp combined. I think they have a fence. Do you know if the women's how that works with women? They don't really have a camp, do they?
I met a couple of ladies at the halfway house that went to Dublin, but I didn't ask them exactly about the conditions there. But they seemed to be just based on the way they told some stories. It seemed like it was camp-like, similar to ours.
Yeah, I met some girls too that were at the Dublin. One of them was my ex-girlfriend, but I can't. I'm not allowed to ever talk to her. She got 29 months over there. So, now they're everybody when you turn yourself into prison or you get to the prison, they're going to put you in the shoe for 14 days. And then I heard today when you get out, you got to go back to the shoe your last 2 weeks. But if me and you went to the shoe, it's going to be different than when she went to the shoe. I mean, what do you think happened to her? What do you think her first day in prison was like?
It was probably very cushy. If she did go to the shoe, I'm sure she got all the special treatment, and they probably brought her starter packs with toiletries and snacks and multiple pillows. I didn't get my first pillow until 6 weeks into my sentence, for example, and they just wouldn't issue me a pillow because they were out, supposedly. I actually had to get a pillow from someone who was leaving. I never did get issued a pillow. And I'm sure someone like her got all the, you know, got all the stuff you can a man or a person may want on their first day.
Which is totally not fair to the other inmates. It's totally not fair she only got 60 days for her crime. I mean, that, I would have got 60 months if I did what she did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 60 days is, it's a very small sentence. Typically people who commit fraud are doing 5, 6, 7, 10,
Yeah.
10 years, I would say, is a common number. 6.5 to 10 years is a very common number for people who commit fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know all the details about her case, but I do know that, she fraudulently got her kid into a college, which somebody else who more deserved should have went to that college and got that spot. Instead, her kids got it fraudulently. I mean, it definitely hurts societies. It hurts the integrity of the college. There's definitely financial loss, and there's definitely a victim. Many of these crimes are victimless crimes. Well, this one is not a victimless crime. Somebody, had to be the sacrifice here. And to give her only 60 months doesn't set a very good example to society, saying, hey, you and I knew a guy, for example, who got a 200 months sentence for marijuana,
Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
I would say that's quite harsh too. And this is a guy who was probably 20 years old at the time of the crime. But to give somebody just a 16, 17 years for a crime at 20 years old, he's not mature enough to buy a beer, but he's mature enough to do 200-month sentence,
Yeah. At 200 months. What's that? 15? I don't know. That's more than 15 years. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, it's like 17.
17 years. Yeah. Because he was in my RDAP group with me. And, man, I felt for the guy, man. I mean, he didn't start off at a camp, because when you got that much time, I think he started off at the medium and then went to a low and then went to a camp. So apparently there's a bunch of people charged here. There's so some of the people, there's 20 more people, I guess, that are going to prosecute, and the lengths go all the way up to 9 months. So the most somebody ever is getting in this scandal is 9 months, and that's probably the poorest person, right? Or should be. And so, how about you heard about this Felicity Huffman got 11 days? How do you even do 11 days in prison? I mean, it's going to take 11. You can't even do the 2 weeks quarantine. How do you do the 11 days in prison?
It's a complete disrespect to the process. You can't give somebody 11 days at this point. Don't give them anything, make them pay a fine. But making someone go in for 11 days is a waste of taxpayers' money. She's not going to learn her lesson anymore after the 11 days versus not doing the 11 days to begin with.
I never heard of her. Felicity Huffman. Do you know who she is?
I've heard the name, but I can't say that I know who she is exactly.
Yeah, I only heard the name because she's all over the news. And that's so this Lori Loughlin, I guess one of her daughters is a YouTube star now, and she's they kicked her out of college, right? I think they did, right?
Right. Well, they should have.
So would you call that white privilege that she got, or rich privilege?
It's definitely privilege, because I feel like, I definitely feel that it was definitely white privilege. It was, and the fact that she's in California. I also noticed that judges in California seem to be more lenient than other judges of other states. It seemed from my experience that Texas, Iowa, Utah were very, very harsh with their sentencing.
Yeah, Utah and Texas, from what I heard, man, you don't want to get a federal charge in those states. You would think it's supposed to be the same across the board, but I think there's 12 different federal jurisdictions. So I'm in the 9th District of San Francisco, which is supposedly liberal. I got a 52-month sentence, but I was looking at more. But, I talk about how I got some time taken off because I did a drug program before I went, while I was on pretrial, 6-month attack therapy drug program, and that really helped, and that shaved off some time. And but in Lori Loughlin's case, so now she's got. What do you think she's doing tonight? She's home sipping wine. She thinks she's watching us on YouTube right now.
If she is, hi Lori.
Hey Lori.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, she's at home sipping wine and eating dinner. I
Yeah.
think that seems to be a very common.
Yeah. You think they're gonna piss test her every week in a cup like we have to do?
I don't think so. No,
No.
absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive. No,
Yeah.
we completed the RDAP program, which kind of made us admit to a problem. So therefore, they're more likely to test us because we admitted on paper that
Yeah.
we have a problem. So
So she's got to do 250 hours of community service. So if me and you had to do that, we're going to be cleaning up the freeways on the side of the road in the middle of the rain because they don't care, right? But what do you think she's going to have to do for her community service?
maybe do some speech, some public speaking, and then
That's what I
consulting others.
that's what I was thinking. She's going to go maybe to a college and give a speech there on to the parents or something.
Exactly.
And then she's got 2 years probation, which is going to be nothing for her, right?
Right. I mean, her probation officer isn't going to be coming and checking up on her house and calling her up and asking for her paycheck stubs to make sure that she's actually going to work.
Yeah, and no, I'm sure she'll get off that early. Me and you, I mean, I got 3 years. What did you get the 3 years too?
Yes, also.
And supposedly, so everybody that does federal time, you always got to do probation when you get off, or they call it supervised release. So I understand halfway through we can go ask the judge, if we're doing good to get taken off probation. So I've been out about a year. In 6 more months, I'm going to ask if I can get taken off probation. But what about you?
So, no, in my district, it's a little different. So, they asked me to do 2 years out of the three until I can apply.
Okay.
My attorney said that, and my probation officer saying that. Now, from what I understand, after 1 year by law, you can file a petition to get off early. However, in my district, they're known to deny you, and almost from what I understand, nobody gets approved after 1 year. But if you do 2 years, then you do get approved. So
Yeah. So how do you think Lori Loughlin was treated by the other women? If once she got out of quarantine, how do you think she was treated? Think because some of those women in those federal camps, I met them. There's some jealousy going on. What do you think happened to her?
I don't know. I think just like in society, many of them might be starstruck and want to become friends with them. There's a lot of
Oh yeah,
conniving people and manipulators in prison. They might think, oh, if I become friends with her, maybe she's gonna take care of me financially on the back end. So there's I'm guessing there's a little bit of that going on. And
yeah.
so
When Martha Stewart did her time, I think she got a year and a day, and they let her out after 9 months. But I know that she hired some of those girls, and they work for her right now. And so, you know what I mean. Those girls made friends with Martha Stewart, and so now they got jobs out. So I mean, now Martha got a year. I don't know if that was sufficient or not, but I'm not gonna be. I'm not upset because she did a year. You know what I mean? It's insider
yeah,
trading. And
no, I look up to Martha. From what I understand, she did a lot of good things in prison. She started programs, arts and crafts programs. She taught people stuff. So I think she
yeah.
contributed to the overall well-being of the environment she was in.
Yeah, and I like Martha Stewart, and I mean, I don't have a problem with her. So back to Lori Loughlin, she's got a husband, trying to find his name. He got 5 months, and he's going to Lompoc. What do you know about Lompoc?
Mm, Lompoc, I don't know a ton, but I know that it's some people, they have really cool jobs. It's like a farm. They got a dairy farm, from what I understand. Some people work on the military base. That's nearby, like where you take a van, people have access. Some people clean the parts near the beach, so they actually get to be on the actual beach next to the ocean.
Right.
So I've heard pretty positive things about it. I know that they got weights to work out. No, I heard it's a lot better than Florence, Colorado. It just doesn't have RDAP.
Yeah. So what do you think about Lori Loughlin's daughters? Do you think they should have a conspiracy charge on them, and should they face any prison time?
Um, do
If it,
I? I mean, It happened to me, you know. I feel like I was a minor player in a conspiracy, but nevertheless, I was part of a conspiracy. And then, so, you know, I wouldn't put it past the prosecutors to go ahead and file charges, but it doesn't seem like they will. And
I mean, they had to
personally,
know. They had to know they went there on a sports scholarship. They had him take a fake picture rowing a boat, and that's they don't know anything about rowing. So they had to know they were going in there under false pretenses. I think the daughters need to, you know what I mean? Because if it was my daughter or your daughter, they'd be putting
yeah,
them in there.
yes, I believe they definitely committed a crime. They were definitely part of a conspiracy. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And but you know, I don't want anybody going to prison. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I don't want anybody. But yes, I believe they did commit a crime, and I believe the prosecutors led them off the hook. Maybe because they testified and cooperated, or maybe for a different reason. But
Right.
I do feel they caught a break.
All right. So before we wrap all this up, I was wondering if you got some advice for. I got a lot of people that watch my videos. They're on pretrial right now, or they got a family member that's on pretrial, or somebody that's about to go in. And they're fighting a case, or they just got indicted, or they think they're getting indicted. So, you got any kind of advice to those people how to get, how they can get through these times right now before they get sentenced?
So I will say that during the pretrial period is going to be the hardest times of your whole process. Incarceration itself is going to be not nearly as bad as the times of pretrial. There's so much unknown, so much frustration, and so much fear going on in pretrial, where once you get in, all that kind of goes out the window, and you know your release date, and you realize it's not dangerous, and you realize that it's very doable, and time flies by fairly quick. So, you know, if you're listening to this and you are struggling on pretrial, just remember this is as difficult as it gets. It won't get any more difficult than this. It's all downhill from here. So, you know, just think positive, and come up with plans of what you're going to do when you get out. And you know, and have hobbies on the inside. You know, when you do go to prison, make sure that you have hobbies, whether it's reading, playing cards, playing sports. You need more than one hobby. You need at least a half dozen hobbies, at least. So, you know, try to, if you don't have them, create them.
How about the family members that got people that are in prison right now? You got any advice you could tell them? Because, you know, when we get locked up, our family feels like we abandoned them. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of times, we did this to them, and and it's, especially if we were supporting the family, and now, we've left them hanging, and we're in prison. You get any advice to tell the family how they can get through this?
Yeah, I mean, for one, United States, you know, many of us know it. United States is the most incarcerated country in the world. So a lot of families, millions of families have to deal with this, and have had someone they know or themselves have been incarcerated. And so you're not alone. There's a lot of people have gone through this. And just remember, your loved one is going to be okay. If they're going to a federal prison camp, they're absolutely going to be okay. Just hopefully you're just there for them when they get out, you know?
And I also got viewers that leave me comments. They're out of prison now. They've done their time, and I know for a lot of it's hard, with having a criminal history and all that. But you're working, you're out of prison. Your spirits are always good when I talk to you. So what's your secret? What are you doing? What are you doing right now to in your life that you're out of prison? I know you put it behind you and you're moving forward, but you got a message on that aspect for people?
Yeah, so a lot of people are concerned about not being able to get hired when they get out. And I was too. I was absolutely terrified of that. But one thing I found out is from the few jobs that I've had since I got out, a few of them did a background check, and I actually passed the background check on all of them. And the reason is that federal crimes don't come up on traditional background checks. Sure, if they take your fingerprint and go to the next level, and they go through the life scan, I believe it's called, then your criminal record will come up. But if they just do a traditional background check, nothing's gonna come up. You're gonna come out clean. As a matter of fact, the first job I got, you know, I was up front with the guy saying, "Hey, you know, I'm in a halfway house right now. I got a criminal record." Well, he went ahead and did a background check on me anyways, and it came back clean. And he pulled me aside and goes, me and another guy who was at the halfway house that worked for him, he goes, hey, your guys' record came back clean. And we explained to him why. And then after that, I started passing background checks by, without telling them I have a felony, and it worked.
I've heard that too, and I got approved to drive for Lyft, but they didn't approve my car because it's 20 years old. But because you got to have a newer car, but I passed the background check, so yeah, I've heard that too with the federal charges. So, anything else you want to say about Lori Loughlin? You got a message for Lori?
Lori, you lucked out. Believe me, you could have easily been doing 100 months, 80 months, 75 months. You could have been doing some serious time. You got fortunate that you were in California with liberal judges. You got fortunate that you're a celebrity, and but welcome home. And and I'm glad you're safe and enjoy.
Yeah, my message to Lori is now that you've seen what inmates go through in prison, next year I want to start an inmate fundraiser for the guys and girls that don't have any money in prison. We can send them some money, and maybe you can help me out with that. That could be part of your cause. Anyway, all my information's under the description there. Any last words, Alex?
No, that's it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the videos. There's many of them, and they're all very good.
Thank you guys, and subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video. Thanks. I'm going to turn the recording